Hi, welcome back. Welcome back. Rock and roll, everybody. Welcome back to Jay's Rock and Roll Stories. I'm your host, Jay. Let's jump back into it. It's our Sam Cutler Part 3 episode. So what's our recap? Well, Altamont Speedway was a complete disaster. The Hells Angels murdered somebody. The Rolling Stones abandoned Sam Cutler, and Sam Cutler said, fuck it, and he kind of made friends with the Grateful Dead, with Jerry Garcia and the Dead, and he's teaming up with them. So he also meets the Bear. Who's the Bear? The Bear is Augustus Owsley Stanley III, also known as the Bear. I'm not going to say too much about the Bear because I'm going to do an episode about him. He's a fascinating guy. Let's just say, he is a chemist. He was the guy who was responsible for making the purest, the cleanest, the most awesomest LSD. One of the batches that he made of LSD was called Purple Haze, and there's someone who really liked that batch, named a song after it. The Bear was also the Grateful Dead sound guy. He was very interested in like gadgets and just increasing the decibels and just trying to get the finest sound. He was recording every show. That's the Bear. So we're not going to do too much about him. I'm going to do an episode on the guy. So the Dead go on tour, and their tour manager is Sam Cutler. This is 1969. When they go to the airport, the Grateful Dead just kind of just goof off. They're making faces at people. They're just running all over the place. Sam Cutler is trying to make arrangements. Okay, ma'am, here we go. I have the 55 whatever tickets, and Bobby Weir will just show up and make a big a funny face at the lady, and so it's the last straw. Sam Cutler can't take this anymore. He needs order. So this one time they're on a bus, and Bobby Weir tickles Sam Cutler who with a feather while Sam Cutler's trying to take a nap. Wakes him up with a little feather, and Sam Cutler punches him right in the nose. Bobby Weir is bleeding out of his nose, and everyone's saying, "Sam, that's not cool. That's not cool." So Sam Cutler says, "Look, there has to be rules, guys. I'm sorry, but that's the last straw. So when we go to the airport, you're going to act normal. You're just going to sit your ass down, or you're going to wait in line. We're not doing any of this goofy shit." And Bobby Weir says, "You're right. I'm sorry. It's kind of stupid." Okay, so Sam Cutler is responsible for making some changes on their tours. He gives each member $10 a day. Here's $10. Eat. Put some food in your stomach. So Jerry Garcia usually uses his $10 for cigarettes. He's smoking all the damn time. Pigpen, their lead singer, Ron Pigpen McKernan, he boozes it away. He drinks it away. So after seeing this, where they don't really use the money in the most productive way, so Sam Cutler says, "All right, fine. At each concert, I'm going to have a spread of food. So come on, man. Make yourself a sandwich. There's some bread. There's some roast beef. Put it together. Have a meal." So there's going to be food there. Okay, so May 16th, 1970, they play a show at Temple University in Philadelphia. And the concert is with Jimi Hendrix and Steve Miller Band. Not a bad lineup, right? Jimi Hendrix, Steve Miller Band, Grateful Dead. Sam Cutler goes to talk to the guys who is in charge of paying everybody, and they don't have enough money. They say, "We're only going to pay Jimi Hendrix. No one else is getting paid." So that doesn't sit well with Sam Cutler. So he goes back and says, "You're going to give me $15,000 now. You're going to give me $15,000 now, or I'm going to go on the radio and tell everyone that the Grateful Dead's not going to be playing, and that this is not going to be the show that you come to see. So they say, all right, fine, and they pay him. Sam Cutler hangs out with Jimi Hendrix in his trailer, and they do acid together, and they kind of bond a little bit because they knew each other from back in England. They met each other once, and the Dead go on to play for 4 hours. It turns out to be a really, really cool show. You know why I like Sam Cutler? He really cares about like the whole pie, not just a piece. He's not ever really not really ever concerned about like how much money he's gonna make. When there's a concert, right? He likes to go outside. He likes to see if the security doors are free. He likes to see are people fighting, are people getting along. He likes to go get in line and see what are the prices, what are people paying for hot dogs and sandwiches and Cokes. How much are they? Are we ripping them off? I think he's a cool guy. He's all about the safety. Is everything cool? Are the prices too much for drink or food? Okay. How much is the beer? I mean, how much is a beer today if you go to a concert? It's like $15 a tall can. Fucked up, right? Back in the day, it's probably like what, 50 cents or something. So anyway, he tries to make relationships with sometimes there'll be like cops around there. You know, he's like, hey, everything's cool, you know, being cool. Everything's fine. We're having a good time. So one time there was a cop in the concert hall, and that doesn't really happen. Like that's not necessary. A cop standing in the concert hall, walking around, or just standing there watching stuff. So Sam Cutler goes up to the cop and he says, "Hey, is everything cool?" And the cop's like, "Oh, yeah, I'll let you know if there's something wrong." So Sam says, like, oh, "Okay, well, just let me know if there's something wrong, something going on." "No, it's fine. You know what? I'll let you know." "Yeah, sure, I'll let you know." So this kind of pisses Sam off. Like, why the fuck are you here? You're not here to see the music. You're here just to bother people. So he comes back and he says, "Man, you want me, you know what? I can get you a cold beer." And the cop's like, I don't drink on the job. "And I can go get you a soda." The cop's like, "No, I heard people might be dosing with LSD. I got to be careful about that kind of thing." So I was like, "All right, you know what? I got you covered, bud. I'll be right back." And he goes and gets like a can of Coke. And he puts a little drop of LSD like right where you put your mouth on the cone, on the can of Coke. And he brings it back to the cop and he's like, "Here you go, bud. Got you a can of Coke known as Open It or Altered It. Here you go." Oh, the cop's like, "Oh, thanks, man." Drinks that Coke. And then Sam just sits back and watches. And he enjoys the Coke. And he ends up really enjoying the concert. He's like taking off his shirt and like he's dancing with girls and stuff. Anyway, so there's kind of mixed ideas about dosing people, right? The Bear, who we'll get to on another episode, the Bear is really big on dosing people. I don't think it's cool. I agree with Bill Kreutzmann. Bill Kreutzmann, the one half of the drummers of the Grateful Dead, in his autobiography said, that's not cool to, secretly dose somebody because you are, responsible for their mentality. You're responsible for their psychology. You're responsible for whatever happens to that person. I agree with Bill. Anyway, moving on. So there is a Canadian deadhead. His name is Thor Eaton. Thor Eaton is from the Eaton Fortune. The Eaton Fortune is a multinational management company, big rich company, and they got a lot of money. So this guy Thor Eaton, he approaches the Dead and he says he will pay for a series of concerts throughout Canada, and he will pay for them to travel by train. So, and it's not only just the Dead. He has a whole group of bands that he's paying for. Get on this train, travel through Canada, get off and play like different concerts. So it's going to be Grateful Dead. It's going to be the blues guitarist Buddy Guy, the band. It's Ian and Sylvia, who at that point changed their concept of music to more of like a country folk rock band, and the outfit was called Great Speckled Bird. If you don't know Ian and Sylvia were like a Canadian duo kind of group. Also Flying Breeder Brothers, Graham Parsons, and Janis Joplin. So all of these bands, all of these guys, all of these performers, all these artists on a train going through Canada, getting off, playing shows and stuff. So the first show is in Toronto. So they all meet at Toronto. And we talked before about prices. Remember how we talked about how the Stones price was, $6.50, while the Doors were like $4, and Blind Faith was like $4.50. All right, so the price of this Canadian tour with all these bands is $14. That comes out to about like $120 in today's money. So it's like, Jesus Christ, that's a little pricey, right? I mean, I could do $40, but I'm not going to do $120. So anyway, the crowd, there's like these groups in the crowd that want it free. Free the music. The music should be free. It gets intense, right? There's security, there's police, and there's like skirmishes with police. People are getting beaten up. They want free music, and no one's going to pay this $14. Well, some people are paying and getting in, but it's really low. It's not a lot of people. So the band comes to a decision where, let's do this. We have an idea. Let's do the concert, the $14 concert, and then we'll play outside, out of the venue, at like a park or something, for free. Everyone wins. All right, fine. All right, okay. They do that. So they get on the train, and all of these bands together on a train, and the guy, Thor Eaton, provides, food, coffee, and a shitload of booze. There's like tons of beer, tons of Canadian whiskey. It's like, fuck, dude, everyone's getting drunk. Everyone's drinking together, and all the bands are hanging out together. And like a lot of these bands, like for example, the Grateful Dead, they're not like an alcohol band. That's almost something that's foreign to them, except for Pigpen. Their lead singer, Ron Pigpen McKernan, he prefers to have his own bunk. He's a drinker. He doesn't do LSD like the rest of the band members, And a number one reason is, I don't want them to dose me. They're going to try to dose me. I like my drink. So anyway, he has his own bunk in the train. So anyway, everyone's getting along. Everyone's drinking. Everyone's partying. Buddy Guy and his band members are hanging out with the band. The members of the band are playing with Janis Joplin and Grateful Dead. Everyone's having like this amazing time. So they travel to a football stadium in Calgary. Everyone's fucking hungover. So fucking hungover. They're coming out of the train, puking their guts out. Janis Joplin and Ron Pigpen McKernan, lead singer of Grateful Dead, they're laughing. Because they're like the only drinkers. Like they drink. Everyone else is like, it's like weed or LSD. So they're like fucking laughing at these amateurs. It's pretty fun. Everyone gets along. Okay, so they arrive in Winnipeg. And it's Janis Joplin's birthday. So they have a cake. And they dose the frosting on the cake. So everyone gets a piece of cake. Every member gets a cake. People in the audience get a piece of cake. The cops, the security get pieces of cake. Janis gets a piece of cake. Janis doesn't like LSD. She doesn't like it at all. So anyway, it's a really good concert. Janice kicks ass. She's just performing, and she keeps looking off at the stage. She sees Sam Cutler, and she looks pissed off. The cops, the guys that were cop security, they start taking off their clothes and like get into the music. Hell yeah! Everyone's dosed. The concert's over. Janice gets off the stage, comes up to Jerry Garcia, grabs him by the arm, pulls him up to Sam Cutler, and it like kind of admonishes both of them. You assholes dosed me. And they agree. They're like, fuck, it's not cool to, dose someone without their consent. So yes, I agree with that. Okay, so everyone calms down. Janice is not having a good time. That's not her drug of choice. So Sam calms her down. Sam loves her. That's his sweetheart. And they have a nice cuddle. They giggle. They have a nice moment. And at the next day, when the whole tour is over, Sam takes her to the airport and sends her off, and that's the last time he ever sees Janis Joplin. She will die of an overdose on her own tour, October 4th, 1970. So that's it for that, right? So after that tour of Canada, Sam comes back to California. So he finds more information about this, the John James guy that we talked about before, the undercover cop who was posing as like security for the Stones. He's an informant. He works for the FBI. After Woodstock, they started putting like undercover people in concerts. They were just kind of like, they were using the Rolling Stones Altamont thing as like, how should we do it next? You know what I mean? Like, how should we do this? But in the end, John James comes to a horrible ending. 4 years later, he is thrown out of a fourth floor window by some, mafia cronies who are connected to some other politicians. John James was stealing thousands of dollars from Rosalind Carter's United Nations Children Fund. That's Jimmy Carter's wife. Yeah, so they didn't like that. So I guess what happens is you get thrown out of a window. Anyway, all right. So Sam Cutler, he wraps up 1 year with the Dead. He wraps up one whole year touring with the Dead, and he kind of straightens out their finances. And they did 100 gigs, so it was pretty successful. What's the next thing that they do? They do a tour of Europe. And I'll put this in the comments. You can hear it. It's the album that they made is called Europe 72. It's fan-fucking-tastic. So they're playing a show in Croydon, England. This is 1972. And this is the first time that Sam invites his mom to see one of the bands that he's in charge of. Mom, come check out what I do. Come see what I do. So she comes and sits down and watches the concert. And then during the break and in the middle, between sets, she comes backstage and sort of like berates the band for playing such loud music that would be deemed life-threatening. She demands to be taken home immediately. So she's driven home. Thanks, Mom. All right, so they do another show in Munich at the Munich Music Hall. And this is this ancient place where like Beethoven played, and there's a person whose job is to stay in the hall, and he's kind of dressed up like this like fireman, and he wears this bronze helmet. And So Jerry Garcia lights a joint. Like the concert's going, he lights a joint and takes a puff and sets it down on the top of an amp. And the guy with the bronze helmet flips out and grabs a bucket and dumps water all over the joint. Like, no smoking in here. And there's so much water that it goes all over the amps and it gets into the electricity, and then like the power goes out. It's completely dark. There's you can hear like a scuffle going on. A couple punches are thrown, and all of a sudden the lights come back on, and you see the old guy, the bronze helmet guy on the ground without his bronze helmet on, with like a bloody nose, and there's no bronze helmet on his head anymore. So he's freaking out about the bronze helmet. And the band goes on to set up to play again, and the man is just like begging, where's the helmet? The guy who's in charge of putting on the show in the first place comes up to Sam Cutler. He's like, listen, do whatever you want. Have the band do whatever they want. Please give us back the bronze helmet. Sam's like, go to hell. I don't give a fuck about your stupid helmet. Like, you almost destroyed all of our equipment. And the guy's like, no, you don't understand. That helmet has been in this building for like hundreds of years. And he's like, fuck, all right. So he goes back and chats to the guys. Come on, you motherfuckers, just give me back the helmet. They give him back the helmet, put on the guy's head. All right, fine. Everything's cool. Anyway, so after that Europe tour, Sam Cutler returns home. It was 2 months. 2 months in Europe. Exhausting. That he's so exhausted, he has to do a little stay in the Marin County Hospital. 72, from exhaustion, bleeding stomach ulcer. He almost died. And but the band does put money together for him to stay in the hospital to get better. It takes him about 6 months to regain his strength. Sam Cutler starts a company called Out of Town Tours. So it's just going to be like a company that puts together the locations, the route for bands to do a tour, and it's pretty cool because he's working on Handshake. You want to work with me? I'll work with you. Shake my hand. Let's do it together. There's no contract. There's no nothing. And all he's asking is give me 10%. That's it. We're not going to do any shitty, serious bullshit on a contract. Handshake. We're in. And he works with Grateful Dead. He works with the band. He works with the Allman Brothers. He works with Mike Bloomfield. Merle Sanders, we'll talk about him one day. He works with New Riders of Purple Sage, and his old hero, Ramblin' Jack Elliott. We'll have to do an episode on him someday. So it's going good. Like his little company's doing freaking good. He only takes 10%, which is like $200 a week. It turns out for him. It's going well until things sour a little bit. He makes friends with people. He never takes too much. He's not in it for the money. Until he makes friends with David Nelson. David Nelson is a guitar player for the of New Riders of the Purple Sage, and it hurts him when David Nelson comes up to him and says, dude, are you stealing from us? What the fuck are you talking about? I barely make any money, so that kind of hurts. Rock Scully, the original manager before him of the Grateful Dead, calls and tells him, like, hey, man, you and I have been pals. You've been pals with the band. I'm just letting you know that they're going to fire you. He's like, what the fuck? Anyway, he has a band meeting with the Grateful Dead, and as I said, he's only doing 10%. They come to the office, the out-of-town tours office, and they come in like sheepish kids with their heads down, the only person who could speak is Jerry Garcia, and he says, Sam, I'm sorry, we found someone who can do it for 5%. Sam says, good luck. See ya. He's out. He doesn't say anything else. Good luck. That's it. He walks out. He walks out from that life. He goes and lives in India for a little while. He lives in Ibiza for a while. He walks away from the life. Let's fast forward to 2003. Charlie Watts from the Rolling Stones invites him to come check out our tour. He goes back and he sees his old buddies. He hangs out with Charlie Watts. He hangs out with Keith Richards. Keith is so happy to see him. He's like, Sam motherfucking Cutler, good to see you. And it's like a nice ending to, with the original guys that he worked with, to say hi to the Stones. And they put on a good show, 2003. And he writes about how it kind of hurts him that the Grateful Dead never wrote him. The Grateful Dead never contacted him. Those guys never reached out ever, which is kind of sad, July 11, 2023, just recently, an 80-year-old Sam Cutler dies of cancer. He was being treated for like a near of a decade. He lived a very simple life at that time. He just lives in a van. He says something about how I think the poison of life is wanting that like Ferrari, wanting that big car. Like, no, he kept it simple. The guy never really asked for $1. He never did anything to make money. He did it because he loved it. And I think he had fun doing it. I think he loved the music. He loved the Stone. He says that even though they never contacted me again, the Dead, I love the Dead. I love the Dead. I love the Stones. He was asked, what do you think was the best concert that the Rolling Stones ever did? He says, Altamont. They said, really? He's like, yeah. He said they played far out music at fucking Altamont. I've listened to the tapes from Altamont. It's fantastic. They were playing for their lives. He really never wanted anything else. I mean, after tour managing, he went to Ibiza, he went to India. He was living a simple life, just wandering. He called himself a wandering writer, not doing much, just staying high and happy. That was his thing. He says, I made a decision many years ago. If you accept being poor, everything's cool. All the problems in life come from wanting a fucking Ferrari or a Mercedes and all that shit. I've got plenty of books, but I've never had a big material thing going on. I don't care about it. So that makes life pretty easy. There's a whole ring of things that you don't have to worry about. So that's Sam Cutler right there. I think he's a nice man. Rest in peace, Sam Cutler, you rock and roll bastard. That was good. Thank you. See you next time. Bye-bye. Oh, wait, before you go. I am such an idiot. You have to check this out. I forgot to mention. Okay, remember how Sam Cutler and the Dead are part of that Canadian tour by train? You forgot about that? Sorry. Listen, check this out. It was filmed. It was entirely filmed. This came out, they made a movie about it around 2003 or so. Go to YouTube and put in Festival Express. Okay, just wanted to mention that. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, requests, even request. To tell you the truth, I had a good friend of mine who made a request. He said, why don't you do an episode on the New York Dolls? I said, ooh, yeah, see? So send in an email. Maybe a request. Maybe, who knows, we'll hit it up. So you can send your email to jaysrockandrollstories@proton.me. Weird email, right? What's with the weird email, guys? Anyway, okay, send your email to jaysrockandrollstories at proton.me, and I will see you next time. Rock and roll, guys. Bye-bye.